So we have a lot to get to. I'm going to tell you what we're going to do so you follow along. So I'm going to bring out the producer and director of Biography, Bobby Brown. So they're going to set the table on how this whole project came together. Then we're going to show you a clip, about 15 minutes or so, an excerpt from part 1. And then Bobby's coming out. And we'll spend time with him. Most of our time will be spent talking to Bobby Brown. And then we're all going to come back in together and talk. And hopefully by the end, there'll be some time and you can ask some questions, okay? So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Alicia Etheredge-Brown and J. Kevin Swain to the stage. Can you hear me? Oh, now you can. Okay, so it was really important that we do this first because, first of all, going back to the importance of this space, which is a Black film festival, which is amazing. And so often we see movies and we see film, but we don't know the creative force behind it. So I wanted to give these two their flowers, and they could do a whole panel all by themselves. But I wanted to introduce you to both of them. First of all, Alicia is also Mrs. Brown. Bobby's
Hello.
wife. And she serves as executive producer for this amazing, amazing work. And J. Kevin Swain, I'm just going to call you Kevin because that's tight. J. Kevin Swain, is the director and producer of the show. So let's start from the beginning. Who came up with the idea? And how did it start?
That would be me.
I knew she was going to say that.
I was waiting for his answer. Yes, we had been approached a few times on Bobby's story, and the timing was not aligned, and we took our time being very precise with the story that we wanted to tell was his story, which had not been told before, in his own words. And definitely Kevin was at the top of our list, and thank goodness he said yes. So we brought him aboard, and then it grew from there.
Absolutely. Let me tell you a little bit about Kevin. Okay, we could sit here for a while and read his list. He's an Emmy and Grammy nominated producer director. He's done live documentaries, award shows, Essence Fest, Revolt, BET shows, TV One, Mary J. Blige, and of course Bobby Brown. So he's a serious dude. And she's not too shabby herself. She's worked with Macy Gray, Magic Johnson, and of course she's running all things Bobby Brown. So this is a really serious undertaking. So congratulations to both of you. I told them when we were prepping for this whole thing, I probably watched it about 3 times. It's just phenomenal, phenomenal work. So what would you say the benefit of being his wife and being his friend, what did that contribute to the process of making the film?
Well, it definitely gave Bobby the comfortability to be vulnerable and to be honest and transparent. And I think that's the best thing we could have given him because he is such an honest person. He really is, very much an open book. And he makes his fans and anyone who has ever met him feel like you've already known him, you know? He's very open. And I think that just making him comfortable to tell his story and trusting was what we brought.
I think overall the strength of relationships and friendships. I've known Alicia since a long time ago.
Long time ago.
We met in St. Lucia in a rainforest on a music video. And I met Bobby in London on his previous show. So you keep in touch with people. You stay in touch and eventually, like you said, it's aligned. It's divine at that point. And you realize it's supposed to happen with the people who are involved. And I think our friendship made this a lot easier than it would have been ordinarily. I mean, we could talk about anything. I mean, at this point, we've, dined in Switzerland, Belize, Costa Rica, Nice 2 weeks ago, all over LA. Those kind of moments help us be friends.
Yeah.
I mean, Bobby and I bonded over sushi in Miami years ago. And that's how you bond with people, you know? If you can break bread with someone, you can talk about a lot of things.
Yeah. Well, it's so clear when you're watching that he becomes increasingly comfortable with telling his truth. I mean, it's palpable. And I thought to myself, wow, someone really extracted it. But now, once I started to really understand you and get to know you, it made complete sense. So that's awesome. And I also thought, how do you tell a story this vast, right? Because he has lived quite a life. I mean, and I love the way you've organized it into 4 different parts, because that's almost the only way you can digest it all.
Yeah.
And so that was really brilliant, so congratulations.
Thank you.
So in terms of my last question, because we're going to show a little excerpt for everyone, in terms of challenges, in terms of shopping this in the marketplace, right? Because this was not only a production, but then how do we get this distributed? And what was the what was the appetite for distribution for a project like this?
Well, let's be real clear. Black culture sells. That's first and foremost. You know, we set the table. And I told Bob, I said, Bob, we have 4 hours to tell your story. We got to get it all out. And also from a business standpoint, 4 hours of television is a lot of commercial time.
It's a lot.
So we have to do our thing.
Yes.
1 hour, 14 minutes maybe. So from a network standpoint, it made good business sense, and it's a story that needs to be told. From his point of view, there's no way in 1 hour we could have done this. Not in 2 or 3. 4 was just enough.
Yeah.
You know, we probably could do 2 more hours, but I think we got it done in 4 hours. That was enough.
Yeah, it was remarkable. And I love the parts, birth and rebirth, doing it the Bobby Brown way, passion and pain, lost and found. And it really captured each of those moments and phases of his life. So congratulations. By the way, it's on A&E. You can now download it on demand. And I highly, highly recommend that you do so. Okay, so we're going to share a little bit. Obviously, we don't have time to sit here for 4 hours, but we're going to share a 15-minute excerpt, and I believe it is coming primarily from part 1. So enjoy. We'll be back.
Enjoy.
Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Woo!
You look good, you look good.
I feel good.
A couple of days on the Vineyard will do that to you, right?
Oh, yeah.
This
yeah.
is first time on the Vineyard? You'll be back?
Oh, yeah, I'll be back next year.
I know that's right.
Definitely.
I know that's right. So welcome to the Vineyard. It's so nice to meet you. I've had an amazing time getting to know you and your wife. So we're going to talk a little bit about everything.
Cool.
Congratulations on the documentary.
Thank you. Thank
You're
you
very,
so
very
much.
welcome. So
I hope y'all enjoyed that. It's a lot more. It gets crazy.
And speaking of which, I've always been a huge, huge fan of your music, but after watching this 3 or 4 times, as I told you, I have a profound understanding of who you are as a person and a man. It's just fantastic. So let's start from the beginning. Why now did you want to do this? What was the incentive? What was the motivation today?
Well, basically, I had been going through a lot of things, personal things, and going through therapy for me was being able to talk. Being able to talk about anything that was on my heart, that was on my mind. And I thought, through me talking about it and me actually putting it down on film would help me get through the day, would help me get through, the times that I was going through, the bad times that I was going through.
Yeah, I mean, it takes a lot of courage to do what you did, right? Because you literally lay it bare. You really, really do. But I think it's so inspiring. And I think once people see it, it's going to inspire them to do the thing. Last night we had a big dinner and we were talking about therapy. We had this whole hour-long conversation about the benefits of therapy. And so just really excited that you're doing that. When I was watching it, I had these like aha moments, like, wow, I didn't know that about him. I didn't know that about New Edition. Or did you have your own personal ahas as you were answering questions and going through the process? Did anything surprise you about yourself?
I don't think anything surprised me about myself. I just think I didn't know I had so much baggage, I didn't know I had so much stuff built up. I didn't know I had so much that I wanted to talk about. Singing and dancing is one thing. I could do that, all day, but being able to release my feelings and talk about things that actually hurt me or actually make me feel a certain way is kind of hard. So I found it to be therapeutic.
Well, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, I think about some of the things that you've gone through. And just one of those things would have the average person curled up in the fetal position, like just losing their footing. But you're more than surviving. You're actually thriving. And it's phenomenal. It is wonderful, wonderful. So let's talk about some of those cloudy days. You grew up in Roxbury, Boston.
Right down the street. Right down the street.
In the projects. You witnessed a lot of things. And you said at one point that music was your solve. Music was your escapism. And how early did that start? What point did you realize that you were going to hide out in music?
Since I was about 7 years old, when I was going to school, excuse me, I had to have a helmet on because I would bang my head against the school bus. And nobody knew why until a teacher of mine, Mrs. Brown, from the Dearborn, started playing music for me. And my grandmother would play music, and they noticed that I wouldn't bang my head no more. So
Wow.
it was just music I was hearing.
Wow.
So from that point on, I decided to do as much dancing and listening to music as possible because my head was not feeling well.
Wow. So then at 14, you run into Ronnie, Ricky, and Mike, and New Edition is formed.
New Edition is formed after a stint of talent shows that I would do throughout the city of Boston. I went to Michael Bivens first and told him, I wanted to form a group because he was a popular kid who played basketball in Roxbury. So I got him, and then we got Ricky, and Ricky was in a group with Ralph, and them two came along with us, and we went and did our first talent show.
How did that go? Pretty well.
It went okay. We didn't know what we was doing. We had on I believe brown corduroys, bow ties, and little white shirts. But we didn't have our steps together, nothing. We rehearsed one time and went to the hi-hat and thought we was gonna win. We didn't win, but it was the experience that set it off.
Yeah.
That one time, we just kept it going.
Right.
Kept on going, until we ran into our mentor, who is Brook Paine, who taught us to put it together, who taught us to rehearse, who taught us to, by any means necessary, be together when we perform on stage. Performing was everything for us. And then from there, we met Maurice Starr, and Maurice Starr gave a talent show called the Hollywood Talent Night. And boy, we lost that one too. But Maurice liked us so much that he decided to put us in the studio, and we came up with Candy Girl.
Awesome song. And so emotionally, so you're saying that was your escapism. Emotionally, that must have been like a real escapism for you, right? Because you're practicing, you're singing, you're dancing, you're going to talent shows, and even though you're losing, you're lost in the process. Were you feeling better about what was going on at home?
All we wanted to do was perform, As long as we were performing, we thought, we weren't in the streets.
Right.
So
Right.
that was our get out of the street card.
Right. So fast forward, then you get signed by MCA,
Yes.
right? And things really start to take off, right? And there was I would call it pressure to project a certain image, this pop group, and you had
Yeah.
something else in mind, maybe?
Well, I wanted to be real about who I was as a person. You know, I wasn't this bubblegum kid. You know, I came from the projects, and I wanted to project what project meant to me, and that was, you know, being free, being able to dance anywhere I wanted to dance. That meant wearing the clothes that I wanted to wear, and not, you know, the Mitch-Mac, you know, stuff that they wanted us to wear. I wanted to dress right.
Right.
You know,
And also bring a different
I wanted to look cool.
You didn't want to be corny.
I didn't want to be corny.
You didn't want to
at
be corny. I get it. And as I was watching the doc and you were talking about this, I said this was the beginning of where he was in this group, but this was the part of him that was going to start to really push back on what you wanted. And that's usually when you're leading a group and you come up with a vision or style or tone or whatever, that tends to be a good thing. But eventually it started to create some tension.
Yes.
Right? So there's this section of the doc that, you know, the Bobby Brown way, which is what people used to actually put a label on you. So he's just doing it the Bobby Brown way. And it culminates in this infamous event in Oakland, California, where you literally have a fist fight with Mike on the stage.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
Right.
that was unexpected, but I think
What was happening for you? What was happening for you at, you know, at that moment where I think they were playing Mr. Telephone Man, right?
Yes.
And you just overstayed the
no,
beats?
no.
No?
I didn't overstay anything.
okay.
It was they didn't let me, you know, finish
Ah.
what I had started. Like when you get a crowd going, and you got the crowd in your hand, and you know you up there, and it's like, and they changed the song. It just messes you totally up. So I flipped out. I threw the microphone, walked off stage, went into the back, took all the outfit off, the Corny outfit off. I put on some street clothes and a robe.
The warm down robe.
The worn down robe, yeah.
Very good, very good. But you know, so that was a defining moment, right? We all have defining moments. We can look back and go, "Yep, I remember when that happened." But it puts you on the right trajectory, right? So not only did that happen, but you ended up being asked to leave a group that you discovered. The label said, you know,
I don't know about ass.
I'm trying to be cordial and
They
nice.
wasn't really nice about it.
They threw you out.
I was out of the group.
You were out of
know.
the group.
They gave me a ticket at the airport and told me to go home.
Wow. And so on that ride home, were you thinking, what were you thinking?
I don't know. I was thinking I have to do something. I have to support my family. I have to support my son that was on the way any way that I knew how. I chose the street and got myself into a lot of trouble.
Well, we're gonna get there in a second, but here's the bright light, the silver lining, is that ultimately your talent, your passion, your conviction got you re-signed as a solo artist.
Yes.
And that's what changed that trajectory, which is amazing, right? So it just goes to show you that that minute of explosion on the stage was actually a freeing moment. It was a catalyst for you, right?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. And so congratulations, I guess.
Thank you.
Oh my goodness. So family is super important to you. If I hear some, is that yours?
No, that's yours.
Okay. Family is super important to you.
Yes.
So at this point, you have a son,
Yeah.
right? You're 17. You had your first child, and I love your comment that you were happy because it meant that things were working.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
They've been working ever since, too.
Right. And so you're on this trajectory, you know, you had some fits and starts, but then all of a sudden the hits started to kick in, right? So you're becoming this hit maker, as you said. And in I think it was 89, you went to the Soul Train Music Awards, and you met a woman by the name of Whitney Houston.
Yes.
Right? Amazing. So how would you describe your initial connection with her?
My initial connection with Whitney was, I don't know. It was kind of crazy because I'm sitting in a seat in front of BB and Cece Winans, and Whitney comes over and she's constantly hitting me in the head, constantly bumping me in the head. And I just turned around and I looked at her and I said, you know you keep bumping me. She said, yes, I know. And from that point on, it was just like,
She was hitting on you a little bit.
she was hitting on me.
She was hitting on you.
She was hitting on me literally.
But the connection was
But the
very
connection
real.
was very real. It was
Intense?
very intense. It was something that was supposed to be, you know, for the time that we spent with each other, the 14 years of marriage, the touring, the fun, the laughing, the loving, the everything was just, it was something that, something from a fairy tale book,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, yeah.
It's hard to explain how that relationship, what that relationship meant to me.
When I was watching, I thought, oh my God, it's so obvious that it was such a real thing. But the media had this fixation with you. Can't hear? Oh,
Mike,
okay.
can you hear me now? Okay, sorry.
You want to say that again about your connection?
What part didn't you hear?
Did you hear everything?
Did you hear everything up until now?
Okay.
Okay, I'll hold it closer.
Okay, great. So, as I was saying, I was watching, it's so clear that your connection was so authentic and so real. But the media had this fixation with you two that it was false, that you didn't have good intentions, that she was being led astray, and that wasn't true at all. And so how did you navigate? So you've got two superstars at this point, right? Because she is really on her own trajectory. She's done The Bodyguard. She's about to do it. She does it. Your solo career is taking off, and you're happy, but the press is not buying it, and they're feeding all of this stuff. How did you navigate that as a man and as a couple?
Well, as a couple, we navigated it probably wrong because we got into some of the worst things and the worst situations in our lives. Unfortunately, we got into drugs, and if anybody knows, drugs kills relationships. It kills all things. And that was something that was the mistake we made in our relationship.
I mean, the part of the narrative that the press was like, you influenced that. But the truth of the matter is you were, say, using recreationally, and then you discovered that she was also using drugs. Is that right?
That's probably the best way to say it. There's no pointing a finger at anybody when
That's right.
you're doing drugs.
Correct.
Drugs is something that, like I said, kills the
That's right.
spirit.
That's right.
Kills your soul. And we just indulged too much into the wrong things.
I mean, it's amazing. I think there's a lot more conversation about addiction now as a disease. To your point, people don't cause other people to become addicted to substance. That's something that happens. And so if you're in a relationship and you're trying to influence and help someone and they don't want to be helped, then that's not possible. But you had your own moment of, I would call, another aha, where you unfortunately went to jail, went to prison.
Went to prison.
Yep. for violating a parole. It wasn't because of multiple offenses, it was...
It was a violation of, my parole. And that's where, thank God, it took me away from being on the streets and being home, and gave me a chance to clean myself up, and I was grateful for that.
So it was like...
Still grateful for that.
Yeah, amen. Yeah. Very proud of you. So there was a famous moment when you got out, and Chris Rock was there, and Whitney jumped in your arms. I remember everybody was talking about it, but you talked about you were in a different place, and maybe she wasn't, and then you had other tensions, and ultimately the marriage did not work for you. Yeah. And you also talked about you were so clear about the direction you wanted to go. And it was very obviously hard for you because you loved her deeply. But you were moving forward, but you said, I'm just going to do this clean slate. You said, I'm going to leave everything. I'm going to not fight for anything. And was that part of your, arrival at becoming healthy? Why did you decide to just completely not fight and not, fight for anything?
Because the talk was that I was with her for money. The talk was I was with her because I needed something from her. All I needed was her to love herself the way I loved her. And that was hard for me to let her know without pressing the issue, So for me, it was just like, if I could just get myself clean and keep myself clean, she'll follow suit, hopefully.
Exactly.
And you can't wish that on anybody, It's about prayer, and lots of prayer. And I did a lot of that.
That's excellent. Excellent. It's hard work. It's hard work. Very, very proud of you. So you're then free. Your divorce was challenging. Divorce is never easy. And you met Alicia, and we're going to get back to that later when she comes out as your friend. But in the midst of it all, as you're healing, Whitney died. Right.
Yes.
And, that must have been, how was that? I mean, you're divorced, but you still loved her. And the circumstances under which she died was hard. And then you said you couldn't help. Did you feel helpless?
Definitely felt helpless. There's no words to describe how I felt or when I got the news, what I did. All I wanted to be was close to my daughter, just get to my daughter when I heard the news. But that was also difficult, given the situation from her family and my family, and it was just difficult for me to comprehend that she was gone, one of the worst days of my life.
I'm sure. You had a beautiful daughter, right? And so at the time you have 4 children, one with her. And so you're building your relationship with them. And I heard, I understand that she was a very maternal figure in their lives too, so that must have been tough. Sorry. So she was a great mother figure to your family. And so she passes away. You go to the funeral. You're not welcomed at the funeral with all of the children. And so it feels like an onion just being peeled back. So you're mourning, and you're trying to protect your kids from the press, and they had a good relationship with her. So how did you manage all of that with your children after she passed away?
Very carefully, because they loved her, like a mom. it was hard on them just like it was hard on myself. And also Bobby Chris was, you know, was being shoved away from her siblings, taken away from her father, and there was nothing I could do about it because of the powers that be. Not allowing me to see my daughter, not allowing me to, you know, comfort her, was very difficult.
Yes, that is. I mean, it's, even when I was researching and writing these questions, I'm like, oh my goodness, every question, everything that we're going to talk about, there's this moment of sadness, right, for you, a lot of years. And you have probably faced the worst thing that a parent can face.
I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy.
Yes.
I wouldn't wish it on anybody.
You have buried 2 children, and that is, that's amazing. That's why you're amazing.
Thank you.
You're amazing. So prayer, healing, therapy.
Yes.
So what are the, you have to say, biggest lessons you've learned when you look back over this span of your life? What are the biggest lessons that you've learned?
I just had to learn to take my time and not wanting to be so grown so quick. To look back on, you know, just growing up around the people that I grew up with, they were all older than me, you know. So I always tried to play like I was older, and I just lost, you know, control of that. But being able to sit down and look at life now is totally different. I just want to be home, you know. I just want to be home with my kids. I just want to be, you know, in the kitchen, cooking, doing what I love to do, you know.
I was going to ask you what gives you joy, and you just answered it.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So I want to thank you, because sharing is not easy, particularly when you've been through so much, and you're still healing, right? It's an ongoing journey.
Definitely, every day.
Every single day. And so I applaud you for the work you're doing, for who you are. Thank you for telling your truth.
Thank you so
God
much.
still has you here, so he has lots and lots of work for you to do.
He's still got a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
He's got new tools, though, now.
Yeah, how about that?
Yeah, he's got new tools.
What are the tools?
I don't know. He's showing me.
And
He's still working on me, so
Yeah, so you just trust the process.
I trust the process.
Trust the process. Sunday, there was a sermon at Union Chapel, and Otis Moss III. And the message was, vulnerability is the key and the pathway to victory. And when I was listening to him, I'm like, that's what you've done. You have allowed yourself to be completely vulnerable so that the healing can take place. And that's why you are a miracle and walking in your purpose. It's great.
Thank you so much.
It's really wonderful.
Appreciate you.
Okay. So we're going to look forward. We have a short 4-minute clip from the documentary. And this one wraps up a little bit of music, little snapshots. But we're looking forward at your life now with your amazing wife, Alicia, and your 3 children. You got some energy. You are working.
It still work. That's it, though.
That's it, you done?
That's it.
It's time for you to become a grandfather. Your daughter
I am a grandfather. My son, who just got married, Landon Brown. I have 2 granddaughters, Nalan and Aloha.
Very nice. Very nice. And your daughter just got married recently.
My daughter just got married also.
Congratulations.
Yes.
Congratulations. Okay. So we are going to watch a 4-minute clip. We're going to sit here because it's only 4 minutes.
Okay.
And then Alicia and Kevin are going to come back out, and we're going to have another conversation. We'll wrap it up, and then we'll take some questions from the audience. Sound good?
Great. Yes.
Okay. So, can you hear me now? So we're going to welcome Alicia and Kevin back to the stage, and then we'll get to some Q&A. Alicia, sit here. You want to sit? You don't want to sit over here next to your husband? All right. All right. So we know you're a boss, and you're beautiful. You're mother to Cassius, make sure I'm saying this, Cassius, Bodie, and Hendrix. And you're managing all things Bobby Brown, the brand, the projects, and the businesses. You've been married 10 years this year? Congratulations.
10 years this year.
So awesome, so awesome. So I'm intrigued by how you met, and we mentioned it briefly while we were talking, but I want to do a deep dive. You met while you were going through your process as friends, your divorce process as friends. Will you talk a little bit? No, that's not true?
No, not at all.
Oh, I'm sorry. I got that.
We met a long
We
time
met-
before that.
Even
I was-
before that?
Yeah, I was about 17 or.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I was just out of high school, and I was a dancer, and there was a local dance company, what would you call it? Studio, yeah. And I was there with some of my dance friends, and Bobby happened to be there rehearsing. And my friend knew his friend, and we were introduced that way. And that was years ago, obviously.
Yeah,
and
my
we
bad.
were friends from that moment.
Gotcha.
And then obviously he was married. When he got married, if you saw the Bobby Brown story, we were
Tell the story.
friends. And ironically, I helped Bobby get out of the bathroom to say I do to his first wife
At the wedding.
at the wedding, because we remained great friends. And I don't know, Bobby, you can elaborate.
You're saying exactly what it was.
Yes, so we had a real strong friendship, and then obviously he was married, and he went off and was married, and then we reconnected when he moved back to Los Angeles as he was going through his divorce.
Gotcha.
And timing is everything.
Timing is everything.
Yes.
It absolutely, and you just have to trust the process. So you knew who he was, obviously. You really, really knew who he was. You fell in love with who he was as a person, but you knew the notoriety and then all those things that were surrounding that, and all the things that he was dealing with. How did you convince yourself, like, I'm going to stick with this and stay with this because there's so much there?
It took time. Mm-hmm. It took a lot of patience, and it took just being honest, right? We didn't naturally just fall in love immediately, but he was my friend, and I wanted him to be better. I wanted him to have everything he deserved. Mm-hmm. He was always the same person. Mm-hmm. He was always a kind, gentle, generous human. He's been that from day one, and we all go through struggles. But then I fell deeply in love with him, and that was it.
So tell me the story. I think I want to make sure I got this right. That maybe this was during the divorce process. That you didn't have anything material.
No, I didn't take any material.
And sometimes you would spend time in your car.
I spent a lot of time in my car, actually.
Literally spend time in your car.
I was living out of my car in Los Angeles. I would park in her garage, well, not her garage. Her driveway. And
why wouldn't you let him in the house?
Well, it seems very evil, but I made him
no,
sleep
I
in
was
the car.
going through what I was going through. I
understand.
was, in the process of, staying sober and, not wanting to put any of my burdens on anyone else. Mm-hmm. I would work in the studio late at night. And then, by the time I got out of the studio, I didn't want to ring her bell and ask to come in, I did have some place to stay, but wasn't comfortable for me because of, what I was going through, my journey as far as staying sober was concerned. So where I was supposed to be living, It was just not a comfortable environment for me, so I stayed in my car.
It wasn't a sober situation for him. And this was when we started to decide that we were going to work together, right? So that was the first kind of engagement Bobby and I had. He had been working on music. He wanted me to hear it. He wanted me to help get himself back and his career going again. And, you know, there had to be boundaries at that time.
I was going to say, boundaries are good.
Boundaries are good.
Boundaries are wonderful. So I'm going to look forward. So how are your kids doing?
They're doing great. They just started school today.
Oh.
Well, two of them just started school today. My 6-year-old and my 7-year-old. They're not happy about it at all.
They would rather be here with us.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure. You'll
So
bring them
we're-
back to the vineyard.
Yeah, we're rushing home. But we just had a wonderful family vacation, and we're just so blessed and grateful that we're able to show them the world and expose them to so many wonderful historic places. And so they're all thriving very well.
So when you think about your legacy, because the two of you, I mean, have amazing individuals and you creating so many things, what will be your legacy for them?
Wow, that's a crazy question. I want them to be able to do what they want to do in life. So all I got to do is just make sure I give them the tools. We have to make sure we give them the tools as far as education is concerned, as far as God is concerned, as far as love is concerned. And that should be enough, you know, to allow them to be grow up solid human beings. You give them the right things and be there for them at all times. And, you know, you can only expect them to be great.
And I know they're young, but as they mature and you have conversations with them, I mean, there's a lot of information, even out there, right? So how do you get in front of that and talk to them about it? Are you even talking to them about it now, the things that you've been through, things that people might say to them, knowing who their parents are? How do you manage
Yeah,
that?
absolutely. I think, you know, as parents, we all want to protect our children from everything. And we know that's not possible. So we have a very open forum at our home. We
Great.
speak about things, how we feel, you know, things that may come out, things that they might see. They know that they can come to us and they hear it from us firsthand.
Okay.
Absolutely. I think there are age-appropriate things to talk about with them. We have a 13-year-old, so you can't really protect him from much.
Right.
He sees it all.
Yep.
So we're just open and honest. They know Bobby as dad, and they know me as mom, and they trust us. So
Great.
we appreciate that, and we just try to keep it honest.
Great. It's wonderful. So I'm going to pull you into the conversation. So
Sure.
for the three of you, as I shared with Bobby, what became apparent that you guys are very close, right? Because the information that was coming out of him was great. But so now you're creating a film or a docuseries with your wife and one of your best friends. I'm sure some of it was really great, but was it also difficult? Were there difficult moments? Because, you know, sometimes you work and travel with people you love and like, and it's hard. So,
No, not at all.
not at all? That's
Nothing-
amazing.
Nothing with this project, post-production was difficult. 'Cause
Okay.
That's,
And why was
happens.
that?
It's so much information. We shot for hours and hours and hours and hours. What goes in, what goes out, what makes sense, what's timing. But in producing it, it was all from the heart. Everyone brought their A game. We talked early on about what this was going to be, how it needed to be. And since we agreed, it just flowed.
That's awesome.
The talent who came, you know, Babyface.
Oh my gosh,
Usher,
amazing.
Dapper Dan, come on. That was one of the best shoots, Dapper Dan. Wow. And I'm sitting there thinking, well, I'm having a ball because who's involved here? So it was fun, but it was also cathartic as well. We hung out in the corner in Harlem where he got his Gumby haircut. Impromptu shoot, that kind of thing. That's what made this a special project. It happened. I wanted to say earlier about his children. Thank you for that. One of my first, what can I say, hangout sessions, Lisa says, Kevin, when we go sailing? I'm like, oh, really? we hoisting sails or motors? We got motors. So I'm on the boat, and we're going to Malibu, and his children are so comfortable. I'm like, what a great way to raise children. You can expose them to that. And I saw it firsthand. Oh, this is going to be a breeze. Because the kids were cool, family and friends were cool, and it was a beautiful environment to see loving parents and generous parents exposing these, beautiful brown babies to the world. That's why I knew it was going to be a great project.
That's awesome. That's wonderful. Okay, so what's on the horizon? Are you guys going to create something else? Is he going to go back out on tour with New Edition?
Yes.
Yes.
I don't know.
Definitely.
I should have asked him that. You don't know. You wouldn't know.
No, of course. Yes, we are planning on the second leg of the Culture Tour.
Yay. Awesome.
And we're thinking about a residency in Vegas sometime soon.
That would be fantastic.
And
that would
so
be
everybody
fantastic.
can just come on out and we can have fun in Vegas.
Yes, yes.
But I'd like to add, if you can't make Vegas, we're wrapping up the New Edition concert tour film from the first leg. Oh, yes.
Oh.
We shot, 12, 13 shows. So we're now in the stages of getting it together, so you can watch it on Amazon. Are you listening?
Awesome.
I look forward to that. We all look forward to that.
Yeah, that's going to be great. So before we turn it over, I think we can take a couple of questions. I have my last question is, what's your favorite Bobby Brown song, New Edition song?
For Bobby, it's Humping Around. Yes. The sonics on that record. He had an Alpine CD player in the car back in the day.
Yeah.
Come on. For New Edition, I'm going to say it's Boys to Men.
Yeah.
That song, Boys to Men, was one for me.
Alicia, what's your favorite?
Oh my God.
She's like, where did that come from?
What's your favorite?
Till the end of time.
Yeah.
I have to hum it.
Bobby, what's your favorite Bobby Brown song? It's okay to have a favorite of your own.
It varies for me because, there were so many songs that I wanted to release as singles that were never released as singles. But my go-to on a regular basis is my Prerogative.
It's a great song. It's a wonderful. It's a classics. That's my jam classics.
That's your jam classics?
Yeah, those are what you call, that's my jam classics. Congratulations. Okay, I think we're going to take a few questions. Is there a microphone that's floating around? Oh, yeah. It's over there. Is there a question over here? Are there microphones in the aisle? Yeah. Okay. Oh, I see.
I remember being at one of those concerts in Detroit, Bobby, and you were always phenomenal. So I wanted to ask you, outside of family and work, what is your proudest Bobby moment?
Outside of family and work, my proudest moment. My kids, just my kids, having my kids. Proudest moment. Oh. I get those all the time. I don't know, my proudest moments come and go, It's not like I could just pinpoint one proud moment. I'm happy to be sober. And that's what my wife was trying to let me know, that I get my chips, and I get my chips every month. So, I like them every day. I take one every day, But yeah, I'm proud of that.
Thank you. I think
We have
question
one
right
more
here.
question here.
Hi, my name's Michelle Ferguson. I own a real estate company. Sorry, I'm over here. I own a real estate company in Boston, Hilton Realty, but I'm originally from the hood. And the mere fact that you've been through everything you've been through and you're still standing is so inspiring. I have to say that.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
You're like a shining image in the community. and we really appreciate you. And thank you for going on tour with New Edition, because we got to see you earlier this year. I'm wondering, I know L.A. Reid, like the record labels, Maurice Starr are not around in Boston anymore, and I'm wondering if you have any advice for up-and-coming artists, how we can like make it through to the next level without those pillars being in the community anymore.
I always say work on your craft as much as possible, because this business is so fickle. It's hard to get in it and stay in it. But work on your craft at all times, and lots of prayer and lots of shows. The more you work on your craft, you will be blessed.
We have 2 more questions, is that right?
Right.
One?
Hello.
Okay,
Hello.
one
Hi.
more.
It's right here. Hey, how you doing, Bobby? You have epitomized a slogan. Setbacks are setups for comebacks.
Wow.
And the question I want to ask you, because a lot of people have setbacks that are much less than yours. A lot of people have setbacks that are much less than yours. What's the difference? Why the comebacks? Why not give up? A lot of people give up for a lot less, Bobby. What is it? I'm interested if you ever thought about that too, because you know this man. So I'm just curious, because I think a lot of us could benefit from hearing that. What was the question?
I think it's not about how many times you may fall or fail. It's how you get yourself back up. I think if you have the faith and you believe in God, there's no other way.
That's right. That's right.
That's how I feel about it.
I agree.
I agree. I couldn't really hear the question, but
Why not give up? Why not be curled up in
oh
the fetal
no,
position
giving up
and
is
give up?
not an option.
Not
Giving
an
up
option.
is not an option for me, not at all. Life is too special. Entertainment means so much to so many people, and I just can't. This is what I am and who I am as an individual, and I gotta live it.
Yeah. Amen. Wow. We could sit here for another couple of hours. Unfortunately, we are out of time. It went by so fast. Alicia, Bobby, Kevin, thank you, so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
And thank all of you.
So much.
Thank you, everyone.